all of you in this live session. The target is to deal with some last minute important authors. As many of you are freshers, many of you have already studied a lot. Some of you are also preparing for University of Delhi, JNU, Jamia top level MA entrance, CUET MA entrance. Now, in this session, I'm going to utilize the time dealing with all the most important works taken from my personal diary. And these points are very important for your upcoming exam. तो अभी जो भी आपका एग्जाम आने वाला है इस एग्जाम के लिए आपको इस पे फोकस करना है दैट वट एवर आई एम टॉकिंग वट एवर आई एम गोइंग टू टीच रिमेंबर दीज पॉइंट्स ये सारे पॉइंट्स आपको याद करने हैं लेट्स गो for the very first and important point. Please write down this detail. Absurd literature. We are going to talk about absurd literature. In absurd literature, there was a question in West Bengal set exam. We have to write down that point. This is actually taken from the famous writer Albert Camus. Albert Camus is the part of existentialism and absurd literature. Now, many of my friends must be thinking, what is absurd literature? Literature which is not having a meaning, a direct meaning. You know, when we live in life, whatever we do, we are playing, we are going to market, we are watching a movie, we are talking to people, it is all, it has a social structure, it has a social understanding, it has a social meaning. But do you know there are people that do things which are not meaningful? For example, what if you talk to your pet dog? Like I do, I talk to my pet dog. He's right there. ये अभी नीचे है यहाँ पे. तो ये whenever I take my live classes, he's always down there, licking my feet, giving me company that brother, I'm with you. I'm in the live class. I talk to my dog. Now what I talk? Indian economics? No. BJP Congress? No. Then we talk something gibberish. So if someone else watches me talking to a dog, he will have two opinions. First, I'm mad. पहले क्या बोलेगा वो बोलेगा अरे पागल आदमी है ये क्या कर रहा है कुत्तों से बात कर रहा है. Second, he will say this conversation is meaningless. So why he said that maybe this man is mad, maybe I'm meaningless? Because according to his social structure, there should be an understanding of everything, and if there is no meaning, if there is no utility, there is no significance, then anything, whatever you do, is meaningless. That is called absurd. But the absurdity, the meaninglessness for him, for the person who is calling me mad, doesn't know that I am talking to my dog and I have a meaning of it. So existentialism and absurdity are closely connected, closely associated, right? If I find my existence talking to a dog, I don't care whether the society takes it as a meaning, as a significant thing or not. So here there was a question. It's an important point. Write down the point. There is a line by Albert Camus. Write down this line. Does the realization of absurd requires suicide? Does the realization of absurd requires suicide? No. It requires revolt. It is a line by Albert Camus. No, it requires a revolt. So that is a line by Albert Camus. That's the point. Second famous quote from absurd literature is, this is from Myth of Sisyphus. Write down this. The struggle itself is enough. The struggle itself is enough to fill a man's heart. To fill a man's heart, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. Sisyphus, Sisyphus character. The lines are from Albert Camus' famous book Myth of Sisyphus, published in 1942. Please remember this point. ये point नहीं भूलना है. Then there is a famous line by Leo Tolstoy. This is then. He called his life a joke played upon him. Russian author, Russian writer Leo Tolstoy called his life a joke played upon him. These are the quotes from absurd literature and existential literature. Like these quotes have been asked in exams, so I thought that I'll pick the quotes and I'll give you the answers directly. Now, the another concept that we have to deal with is the famous Indian modern theatre artist, writer, director, Vijay Tendulkar. These writers will save your time. In last moment, you have to focus on these writers. Vijay Tendulkar, the most important stories by this man, three different important stories. He's a Marathi dramatist, famous work, Sakharam Binder. Story of a man who would help women in distress, women in problem. He would bring them home. He would make them self dependent, independent. He would help them to find their own identities. But then he would take sexual favors from them. This is the reason I smiled. Do you call him a villain or a hero? Ab batao. He finds a woman who has been expelled of her house, maybe for dowry purpose, maybe for not able to give birth to a male child, maybe for other reasons. So he finds a woman, takes her to his home, gives her a machine, silai machine, a weaving machine, sewing machines, making them independent, making them strong, making them earn money, but then taking sexual pleasures, favors, sexual favors. So that's a complex character. Read Sakaram Binder. Summary padni hai is very important. Second one is Ghasiram Kotwal. You have to read Ghasiram Kotwal. How the poetic justice is done, how this man is cruel, and how his own daughter faces the same cruelty he does to others. So that's important. Don't miss that. Then the most important famous work is Silence, the court is in session. Shanta, court चालू है. That's in Marathi. Silence, the court is in session. ये तीनों books आपको आज पढ़नी है. That's very important. Now, a famous work written by Mary Shelley. Write down this thing. Romantic novelist Mary Shelley. The famous work, The Last Man. The Last Man, written by Mary Shelley, published 1826. This is a very important work. They can ask you a question. You know why? Because the story deals with, it is the publication of 1826. Published कब हुई थी? 1826. But what is the story? The story is set in 21st century. आज का time. The story is 21st century. And the story is dealing with an epidemic, a plague which destroyed mankind. 21st century, Corona. Imagine. Imagine an author in 1826, wife of P.B. Shelley. Her name is Mary Shelley. She wrote in 1826 that in 21st century there will be an epidemic and there will be a destruction of mankind. दुनिया बर्बाद हो जाएगी. So imagine, क्या पता उसे पहले से पता था. तो ये आपको बेसिक समरी देखना है इसका थोड़ा सा. Second work that you have to check from the same writer. Second work that you have to check from the same writer is Frankenstein. Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus, published 1818. The hero is, who is the hero? The hero is Victor Frankenstein. He makes a new race, creates a new generation, and then the same devil that has been created by him wants a lady, a wife. So make sure you read these things. That's very important because there was a tough question that the concept of modern Prometheus, the term modern Prometheus, which is also the subtitle of the book, that has been taken from Immanuel Kant. Then comes the most important African author, Athol Fugard. Athol Athol Fugard, Fugard. Athol Fugard, famous African author, famous work Blood Knot. Famous work Blood Knot. Blood knot means the connection of the blood, खून का रिश्ता, right? Story of two brothers, one pure black, one white. How one black lover falls in love with a white woman. How that white woman comes to meet the black lover, but he says no. He talks to his brother, white brother. He says, "You meet because I am black. If she finds me that I'm black, she will leave me." So it's a very good story. I don't want to give you the suspense. It's a great story. So make sure you read that. Don't miss that. Then Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka. Soyink. African writer. Very important. famous work Lion and the Jewel, again very important. There is a lady, Siddhi is the beautiful girl of the village. There is the head of the village, Baroka. And then there is a young boy who is educated in America, comes to the same African village, Lakunle. Lakunle think that I am educated in America, so I deserve any beautiful woman. होता है ना अपने अड़ोस पड़ोस में, रिश्तेदारों में कोई लड़का लंदन वंदन चला जाए तो उसको लगता है मैं बड़ा एलिजिबल बैचलर हूँ, मुझसे कोई भी शादी करेगा. तो लकुनले को ऐसे लगता है, लकुनले थिंक्स दैट ही इज स्टडीड इन अमेरिका, सो ही इज द ओनली हैंडसम बॉय, ओनली बैचलर बॉय in the village. Siddhi is the most beautiful woman of the village, so he knows, he thinks that he deserves, only he deserves her. But then Baroka, the old man, the head of the village, he is also looking for a wife. Now, who gets married to Siddhi is a question. So, read the summary, find it out. You will also find the reference of colonization. Then, please don't forget, remember this thing, the professor of economics from Delhi University, Beena Agrawal, professor of economics, University of Delhi, Beena Agrawal, she has written a famous work. Her famous work is A Land of One's Own. She did a study of matriarchy, maternal rights, and came with the idea that only 13% women in India are getting their lands inherited from their fathers, and in Kerala, the ratio was 24%. That's a feminist study, feminist Marxist study. So don't forget this. The name of the book was A Field of One's Own. Then here we have the next author, and that's again very important. This author deals with science fiction. Science fiction. H.G. Wells. Last NET exam there was a question, so I'm repeating it once again. H.G. Wells. Herbert George Wells. Time Machine. The name of the girl, Veena, has been asked in NET exam for 2 times. The tribe, Eloy, it's a question of NET exam. So please read Time Machine and Invisible Man, where the character Griffith is the hero. He does some science experiments and becomes invisible. These are your homeworks, friends. ये आपके वो homeworks हैं जो आपने last moment अगर कर लिए तो आपको बहुत सारे questions as it is paper में मिल जाएंगे. Then you have to read Toni Morrison, Beloved. Toni Morrison, Afro-American author, famous story Beloved, must read है. Name of the girl, जिस लड़की जो मर जाती है उसको वो बरी कर देता है, उसको बरी कर देते हैं. Then what is the concept of the soul? What is the concept of the slavery? That even the souls are scared. So make sure you remember that. Don't miss it. That's very very important. इसके बाद आपको देखना है. You can leave these other writers of this group. Go for Chinua HB. Things fall apart. There are so many questions asked in NET exam, so do not forget Things Fall Apart. Things Fall Apart का title WB Yeats की poetry से आएगा. The title has been taken from the Yeatsian poetry. Do not miss that. Then the war poet Wilfred Owen. Wilfred Owen's famous work Anthem for the Doomed Youth, Strange Meeting, Dulce at Decorum. You can watch my war poetry video lecture. वहाँ पे चीज़ें cover हो जाएंगी. These are the direct homework है ये. In British history, please make sure you have read Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre, Emily Bronte, Wuthering Heights, and W.M. Thackeray, Vanity Fair. W.M. Thackeray, Vanity Fair. All of these publications are of 1847. Do not miss these works. ये works बहुत important हैं. Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre, Emily Bronte, Wuthering Heights, W.M. Thackeray, William Makepeace Thackeray, famous work Vanity Fair. Along with this, you can also read, you should read George Eliot's famous work Middlemarch, Adam Bede. ये 2 पढ़ लो. ठीक है, last moment है. इनके and what do you have to read? The names of characters, names of villain, and the story. What story is. In Dickens, Tale of Two Cities, Hard Times, Great Expectation, Oliver Twist. ये 4 main हैं. Thomas Hardy, Mayor of Casterbridge, that's very very important. Then Tess of the Urbervilles, again very very important. And Jude the Obscure, his wife, Sue Bridehead, Arabella Dawn, इनके नाम आते हैं. Far from the madding crowd, Bathsheba Everdane's character is very important. ये complete करो. That's your homework today, and not adding a lot of other works, otherwise you'll be under pressure. So whatever the lectures you are getting, whatever the content you are getting, along with that, finish these things today. 20th May, आज कितनी हो गई? आज हो गई है 16th 17th. 20th May we will start 3 a.m. session, early morning 3 a.m. session. So be ready for those sessions, and please cover and complete these works. ये cover करो, so that I can give you new works of world literature. In my next private live, I'll be dealing with the most important selected topics of world literature. So stay tuned. Thank you so much.